This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, June 12th, 2021. This is Greg Morton, and this is the weekend growth stock investor update for the Greenville Eastside IBD meetup group, as well as the Stockyard meetup group. And I'll upload this video to the Stockyard YouTube channel so you can find it easily. As always, this weekend review is for educational purposes only. I am not recommending any stocks or securities to buy or sell, nor will I ever do that. All investing has substantial risk of big losses. You want to learn first and only then invest. And Canslim is the registered trademark of Investors Business Daily. So this weekend, we're going to glance at the M factor, see where things are. We'll look at the 197 industry groups again. We'll look at one IPO that may be endeavoring to go higher, some resources, and then our next regular monthly meeting will be Tuesday, July 13th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So the M factor, as O'Neill teaches, this is the most important letter in Canslim, and we really look at three things in this order of priority. Number one is the action of leading stocks. And this weekend, as I started my weekend routine, the market has still seemed sort of trendless a little bit and a little bit sideways still. Hasn't been any real conviction buying. But as I went through the Growth 250 target list and the newspaper, I was seeing a sudden change in character. A lot more setup suddenly, and a lot more stocks that have growth stocks that have broken out and are working. So that was encouraging. Actions of stocks owned. I'll pull up the group teaching portfolio. And then the market pulse, distribution day count, price and volume on the indexes, which includes my coloring book. So let's switch to MarketSmith and take a look at things. We'll start with the daily chart of the NASDAQ. So you can see here our moving average lines are pretty much getting back in order. The pink is the 10-day, green is 21-day exponential. The red looks almost like a flat line there, is the 50-day, and the black is the 200-day moving average on all these charts. So we're making some progress, coming back above 14,000, not too far from all-time highs. So that's encouraging. And let's look at the weekly this week also. So we've got 4 weeks up in a row with some volume even coming in this last week. So that's looking a little bit better. Go back to the daily. Let's look at the S&P 500. Again, moving average lines trending up, stacked in the proper order. Actually closed at all-time closing high this week. So that was strong. Let's look at the weekly chart. Not heavy volume this week, but again, has been tight, staying above the moving average line. So that's looking good. NYSE on the weekly, oops, didn't get it. So working on getting there, didn't quite set an all-time closing high this week. Let's look at the daily moving average line stacked properly, got some space between them. That's showing us some strength there. Dow, actually, which had kind of been leading, a few weeks ago with all that rotation to oil and gas and traditional sectors, you can see it's now lagging. RS line is down. It's kind of camped right there on the moving average lines, but nothing terrible. Everything still looks like it's in the proper order. Russell 2000 daily small caps, again, looking strong. RS lines trying to trend up. Let's look at a weekly chart. Yeah, wow. So working there on moving, getting closer, not quite back to all-time highs, but working on it. Our last line has picked up, so we're seeing some strength there. S&P 600, same, working on, looks like hit an all-time high this week and working on an all-time closing high. May not quite, wasn't quite at an all-time closing high. So, a little more conviction there than we've been seeing in the prior weekends. Let's look at the coloring book. Oops. If I can get it to open. There we go. Oh, sorry. It's the problem with doing these things live and the computer being slow. Okay, so here we are. Overall on this, our 25-day window starts at the orange dot. So first, just looking at buying days or selling days, which will be colored green or red. The account getting close to even. I've got 7 buying days and 8 selling days. So that's some improvement from, back in here when I only had 3 buying days and 13 selling days in the last 25-day window. Distribution days, we only have 2 on the NASDAQ. The active ones have a border around them, so you can see they're scattered. In fact, next week, we're going to lose some of those due to the age rule. If assuming we don't add any more up, we'll have a really low count on the NASDAQ, have 5 on the S&P 500, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so they're pretty far back, and we'll lose 2 of those next week based on the age rule. And then on the Dow, I'm still tracking those because IBD used the Dow for a follow-through day, not too long ago. So have 5 on the Dow. Again, they're still pretty scattered. No clustering in there. Did have clustering over here on the S&P 500. The MMTS trend line on the first 6 indexes are all green. The market school exposure model is back up to an exposure level of 5, which is 100%. The power trend's not back on yet. And then Steve Sweat's window of opportunity model is also green. So, everything's flipped to green and is holding. We just need to see some strong accumulation, which I think will come in if these indexes push to new highs. You can see we've had some breakouts recently, QFIN, InMode, RH gapped, Adobe broke out Friday. So these are some getting into some traditional stronger growth names. Had NVIDIA breakout back there, Qterra, Dick's Sporting Goods. So, Roblox back there. So that's encouraging. We're seeing some strength. And like I said, going through the paper and the part of the Growth 250 I've been through, all of a sudden it was like, wow, I'm seeing setups and I'm seeing stocks that are making progress. So if that's the number one thing we look at, that was encouraging this week. And David Ryan kind of said that on IBD Live this week. He said, hey, don't get too hung up, pay attention, but don't get too hung up with the Qs, the S&P 500, what the indexes are doing, really focus on the leading stocks. He said, when I sell something because it's hit the profit goal or it's triggered a sell rule, do I have something else to roll it into? Or is there just nothing out there? And he said, yeah, he was still seeing setups. So that was encouraging. And like I said, almost a character change from the last several weekends when I've been doing my weekend routine is kind of what I was sensing. If we look at the group teaching portfolio, I haven't put Friday's trades in here yet. We are 83% invested on a cash basis, no margin used. And so Canslim, it's designed to pull us into good markets. So it did that some. It pulled us back in some this week. We'll see if it's a good market. And we're only up about 7% year to date. So it's been a choppy year, way different than last year, kind of difficult to make progress, and don't even have full positions, have a lot of partial positions. It's kind of trying to tread back in and still have some defense mixed in there with the offense in this current market. So other things, let's go back to the big screen, looking at the industry groups. So here's the 197. I've highlighted the traditional growth industries, still just have a couple of those in the top 40, but we have some more, sort of picking up in the next 40, and then a lot of yellow to the right, but it's migrating to the left. So that's a good thing. And then I highlighted a couple of these. You can see they're making progress. So the first rating is this week, and then 3 weeks ago, and then 6 weeks ago. So we have 96. This one's moved computer software security from 129 to 103 to 96. And of course, we have CrowdStrike in there, which is setting up. We have these ransomware attacks recently, so it seems like there's going to be some shift to focusing on internet security. So maybe this is a group that keeps moving up. We have some computer groups moving up, medical, telecom, that's sort of the 5G is why I highlight those, thinking maybe that'll make some progress. Still got a lot over here, the software, solar, down at the bottom of the list. So we're looking for these to hopefully start making some progress as we go forward. All right, so let's look at one, not so much the news in the growth sector, sorry. I meant to change that slide. So let's go back to MarketSmith and look at one, maybe endeavoring to make some progress, which is Endeavor. So this is a recent IPO. The growth numbers down here look terrible, but everything this company does would have got pretty much shut down by COVID. They're a talent, athlete, author, musician, actor, models, talent agency. So they have about 7,000 customers. They own UFC. They own professional bull riding. They own the Miss Universe pageant. They're provide internet content, original content. So production was shut down. So these numbers are not good. So there is a reason for this. And as things open back up, hopefully they would be a strong opening replay. And you see right here, earnings growth on the left projected to be 417% this year and 82% next year. So this is a new IPO. So let's look at the daily chart. Had a lot of underwriters. 23 of them, so hopefully they'll be pushing stock out to their clients, customers as we go down the road. So here you can see it setting up. We've got an IPO base, 18% deep, and 19 days long so far. We have Fidelity Contrafund in there early, so that's a nice sign. And if we go down here to show fund ownership, let's see. Have one more Fidelity fund that I flagged. And then if we sort these alphabetically and go down, you can see there's a bunch of Fidelity funds getting in this one early. So they're looking at what Will Danoff owns and what they're doing. So that's sort of a good sign also. And we got 78 mutual funds in there pretty early in the life of this stock. And if we drill down to 60-minute chart, you actually can kind of see, this is about, each block is 1 day, little graph paper blocks. So you have about 3 weeks starting in here. We're kind of been in this, range bound or Darvis box, if you want to call it that, between a little bit over 30 and a little bit over 27, and kind of have, Darvis talked about the tennis ball bouncing in the box. You can kind of see that. So we're looking for the tennis ball to bounce up out of the box rather than become an egg and go splat and go through the bottom of the box. So that may be one to do some due diligence on. You can go to their website. Their divisions and everything that they're in are laid out pretty well. They've got their fingers in a lot of things, but they're all sort of related. And you can go look at their last conference call transcript on Seeking Alpha and get some additional detail on that also. So maybe that's one you want to do a little digging on this weekend. So our next regular monthly meeting will be Tuesday, July 13th. It'll be a 2-hour educational meeting, and that includes the 30 minutes Q&A at the end. Everybody that registers can attend live. Everybody gets a recording and slide deck, whether you attend live or not. Registration is only at the Stockyard meetup site. And then first timers get a courtesy copy of the last meeting. Oh, that actually would be the June meeting that I'll send to you, sorry. So put that in there. The agenda, still working on the main educational topic. Haven't quite settled on that. May have 1 or 2 mini topics. I'll get those out there. We'll look at the group teaching portfolio. We'll do some post analysis and talk about recent trades. I'll do an IPO market update and review. Then we'll look at stocks the group picked, which are tickers I let people send in, and I'll put them in MarketSmith and look at them in advance. And I want you to tell me, are you looking at that from the perspective of you have it on your watch list and you're studying it as a potential Canslim stock to be entered, or do you already own it and you're studying sell rules or add-on buy points? And you'll give me your thinking, and then we'll look at the chart and I'll share my thinking during the meeting. Videos, so I started a YouTube channel to upload these in one place because I was having trouble doing that. So please subscribe to that if you do it. The ones that are up there are last weekend's update. And then I put our whole May meeting on there, just in case you want to see what one of our in-depth meetings looks like. And then I also did a 45-minute video, which is sort of a introduction to Canslim and is normally the first part of a meeting. So I've put all that in a separate video. So when we do the monthly meetings now, we just go right into the current market and the educational topics without having to go through all the administrative stuff, and then the introduction to Canslim, resources, that sort of thing. So I would recommend that to you. Good overview, I think, if you're new to Canslim. And then also have done one in the past that I uploaded on the certainteed 8-week hold rule, which really isn't even a rule, it's an exception to a rule. And I think it's one of the most misunderstood and most misapplied concepts in Canslim. So I worked through that in the video, give you more detailed information from Bill on where that came from and how it works, and when there are times that to apply it and how it's properly applied. It's not just the stock went up 20% within 3 weeks from the breakout. There's like 10 other things you need to look at, and it's in one of his books and it's explained in more detail. So you can take a look at that. So, and then here's the prior monthly meetings. People can order the recordings and slide decks from these. The ones highlighted in green are the ones I get asked about most. The May 4th one's sort of a big overview on Canslim and the different stages in the Canslim journey. August 18th is a complete weekend routine, because that comes up often, very often asked questions. What's a weekend routine look like for a Canslim investor? So that walks through it using the Growth 250 and the paper to build a watch list, how you identify Canslim stocks, how you compare them to each other, how you decide which ones go on your top tier watch list. And then January, February, March were very extensive on preparing your own set of written sell rules. And again, sort of walking through the 3 zones on a MarketSmith chart and a proper Canslim trade. So I think those have been very helpful. If you don't have a set of written sell rules, you really need to get those and go through it and stop what you're doing until you have written down your set of sell rules. Just a reminder, this weekend, great trading conference over on Trading Lion on YouTube, free. So this is just a phenomenal lineup of speakers. I'm very interested in this afternoon. These are going to be recorded so you can get them later. I've never heard Dr. Eric Wish speak, so I'm looking forward to that. Got the IPO Queen, Kathy Donnelly at 4. That'll be great. Pat Walker, just Mr. Enthusiasm, Mr. Excitement, it's at 5:15. Haven't heard Ben Bennett before. Ross Haber, he's at Traderline, former O'Neill portfolio manager. You know, you got U.S. investing champions. There's just really not any weakness in this agenda. This is really strong. Jim Ropel tomorrow, never miss him. So at least we'll catch the recording if I miss it, because that'll be during church. That's Eastern time. Arusha, you know, Joe Fahmy, Jack, he's got to be good. He's the only guy on here that just has one name, so really looking forward to that. Charles Harris, O'Neill portfolio manager, great speaker. You know, these are all just great. So take advantage of that. Go back and get the recordings on one you really might be interested in if you don't catch them this weekend. Contact information, 2 meetup sites, Greenville Eastside IBD meetup and the Stockyard. Lots of resources uploaded for you on the Greenville Eastside site. You can RSVP for the next meeting. And again, I'll send you a copy of the June meeting, my oversight there again, sorry. You can follow me on Twitter, and then I already showed you the YouTube channel. So that's it. I hope you guys have a great weekend routine. Next week will be interesting. We do have a Fed meeting, so I don't know what the Fed's going to say on Wednesday. Maybe that's going to whack-a-mole the market back down, or maybe it's going to, you know, clear the runway for some upward movement. No way to predict. We'll have earnings season starting again in early July. It is the summer, so we expect, you know, on some of the volume bars on those index charts, some of them are having low volume, but that's typical during the summer. Fridays, you know, all those people in New York are heading out to the Hamptons again this year after being stuck at home last year. So we're going to see some volume taper and we're going to see some increased volatility. But we just know that, and we adjust what we're doing to take that into consideration. So that's it. I'll get this uploaded on YouTube, and you guys have a great weekend.